Welcome to Mosaic Arts Online. I'm Rachel Sager, and this is Intuitive Mosaic Jewelry. In this course, I will teach you how to think about jewelry as much more than simply pendants and rings and earrings. I will show you how to build tiny works of art that can be miraculously carried around on people out in the world. Art that is personal, handmade, long-lasting, and precious. I love the idea of jewelry being your art, your expression, your creativity, but in miniature. Like a work of art that hangs on a gallery wall, except your mosaic jewelry can be art that is mobile, portable, and intensely gratifying to make. I've been making, selling, wearing, and gifting mosaic jewelry for many years, and I have learned that people love collecting it. They love showing it off and treasuring it. Well-made, handmade jewelry makes people feel special. If you've taken any of my other MAO courses, you will be delighted to recognize many of their themes weaved through this course, especially the intuitive courses. Intuitive composition, which is all about the where of placing things within a frame. Intuitive malmischiato, the technique of making your own bespoke filati, aka micro-mosaic, which is one of the building blocks for mosaic jewelry. And also a little bit of the uncommon canvas will be in there too. We can't leave out the finding of unique, can't be bought in a store kind of bezels. So many of my signature techniques are here. They are simply miniaturized into a much smaller frame, the bezel. The first several sections of this course will be laying the groundwork for the second half, which are the projects themselves. I share many of my secrets. I share how I shop for bezels, which I explain is a steep learning curve, and I try to help you skip mistakes that I have made over the years. I even have a special bonus section about going pro with some of my thoughts about why some things sell and others don't. There's a detailed adhesive mixing section and a troubleshooting millimeter depth when cutting your materials section. I love making jewelry with all kinds of materials. The very fine filati threads and how to cut them are a part of the course. But I will also be showing you how to work with smalti, gold smalti, natural stone, semi-precious stone, and picassiette, which is the broken plate kind of mosaic. I have learned so many fine details that many people would never consider, but which make a huge difference in the end result. That difference shines through in that moment when people choose to wear your art. The thrill of seeing your handmade jewelry walking around on people out in the world never gets old. Whether you want to make this special kind of jewelry for yourself, for your friends, or more ambitiously to sell, every section in this course will help you be successful. I've included a PDF of my favorite tools, materials, and resources. So, put on your reading glasses and join me as we go small.
Rachel, thank you so much once again for coming to Mosaic Arts Online. I don't know how many courses now, maybe 12. And this one is so special and really was so gratifying to watch you work as we created this course. I'm so excited about it.
I had so much fun. I really did. I loved getting small, and I loved teaching something that I'm so actively doing right now, because this is what I do right now. You know, for the last many years, I am just dialed in to making jewelry.
Making jewelry and beautiful jewelry. So then tell me just how it all first started, because I know this wasn't your first, way into mosaic art. That's for sure.
Not at all. And I actually resisted it. I resisted it for years. I was like, I don't want anything to do with jewelry. And I can hear myself saying that, actually. I can. Like, I don't do jewelry. And I didn't for years. And I would appreciate other artists, dabbling in jewelry, and I would say, oh, that's nice, that's nice.
Right.
And then I went to a mosaic conference one year, and I saw very unique bezels for sale. And my brain just changed. It was like, oh. And it was the bezel that got me. It really was. It was the bezel. They were wooden, which I find fascinating. I actually have a little prototype of a wooden one right here. And I bought like 5 or 6 or 7 of them. I didn't know anything about doing jewelry at all, but I took them home and, I learned just trial and error. I made mistakes and I just kept at it and kept at it. And I have a bricks and mortar studio. Yes. So I have people coming in on a regular basis. So it made sense for me to make jewelry. It actually always made sense. So I'm really glad that I did it, not just for my own enjoyment, but in a business way. And jewelry sells.
Right.
It just does.
You'll talk a little bit about that, but what does it feel like now that you're making this kind of art that we can wear, which we're not wearing any of it because it's all being shown so beautifully right here. But what does it feel like when you see someone wearing your art, which I will be wearing later today because now I own one of these pieces. But
yes, you do.
Tell me about that feeling.
That feeling is thrilling, truly. So what happens is, I'll have a visitor to the studio or they're coming for a ruins tour and they know me. They've already apparently already owned some of my jewelry and they come to the studio wearing my jewelry.
Oh,
whether it's on their ears or around their neck or both, earrings and pendant together and possibly ring. Yes. Sometimes people buy matching sets. And when I see that, I just get this feeling of, just intense gratefulness and just pure happiness. And then they see that in my face. So they get happy. And we just have this little moment that only lasts a few seconds. But it's one of my favorite things that happens now.
That is awesome.
It really is.
So then talk about, for someone that may be new to mosaic art or this isn't something they do regularly, what kind of skill level do you need for this so they can have that same feeling?
So I've carefully constructed.
Keep talking.
Carefully constructed each section to start very, very simple. So the first 2 or 3 are just the simplest way that I make jewelry. So absolutely beginners, very beginner friendly.
Right.
As it progresses, it gets it gets more complicated and more complex, and we go into the filati and even denser filati. So I feel like there's something for everybody in the course, and hopefully the people who start out with the very, very simple things can eventually graduate and keep pushing themselves and get to the color wheel filati pieces.
Yes, the beautiful ones sitting here.
Yeah.
So when you do get these bezels, because this could be completely unknown territory for a lot of people, and I know some of them around here are found objects in the Youghiogheny River, right at Rachel's home and studio, but some of them you have custom made, some you buy. So talk about the bezel, because for you, that's where it all started. So someone that might feel overwhelmed, how do they go towards that?
Well, it's such a big world out there. The internet is so big and there are so many choices, and you can get mired down in getting onto the Etsy's and the Amazons and just seeing all these choices and having to spend money, and not wanting to make a mistake. I've made the mistakes. I will tell you that, and I explain, what mistakes not to make. And I really try to help you make good decisions on what bezel works for what material. Maybe a bezel to invest in that's much more economical,
right?
Not as fancy,
right?
For your first few, and before you invest in sterling, possibly,
right? And then let's talk a little bit. If you know Rachel, she does have a course, 2 courses here, Intuitive Malmaschiato, and that's about pulling hot glass smalti and making threads out of it, which you see here. But if you're not that ambitious or you haven't done that, is this going to work when they want to work a filati from purchasing filati?
Purchase filati, yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about something else. I'm going to try to get back to that before. Yes, purchase filati. There's some wonderful purchase filati out there in the world to be purchased domestically, easy to get. And it's interesting. It's not just, there's some really good stuff that doesn't feel too machine made.
Right.
It's pulled by hand by people. And I like to use both. Honestly, I really do.
Right.
But the other thought I was having was besides the filati, because the filati can, it can be, it's very small and it can be very small depending on which kind you're using. So there can be a little bit of an intimidation factor, but every single project that I do in this can be done with regular smalti or all kinds of materials that are not filati, that are simpler.
Well, and I think if you look at these, we have all different kinds of materials. Here it's made with some picassiette, and we have other ones that are made with turquoise. So you really run the gamut of all different gold, obviously, different kinds of materials. So filati is not the have-do of this.
And one of the things that I really enjoyed in the course, too, was talking about combining materials and what happens when you put opposites together. Like I think it was these with the black shale and the picassiette, putting materials together that are like opposites, and how that can be very dramatic.
Yes, which you also do in your other course, the spiral, the shuffle, and the sprocket. So we can go on for hours. If you don't know, Rachel and I do have a lot in common. We love to hang out, but we want you to enjoy this course, and I can't wait to see what you create. And is there anything else you want to add?
I just hope you all want to go small with me. And one more thing, I guess. I know I said something about it, in the introduction about talking about the course, but I'm just really fascinated by the idea of how this, if you look at jewelry the right way, it really can be art. That like you're going to wear my pendant tonight to the art exhibition, which is very appropriate. But you will be like a docent or a curator or a tour guide for my art tonight.
And it's totally like a subject to talk about. It's not like I'm just wearing some pendant.
Who made that? Because mosaic jewelry is very rare in the jewelry world, right? It's not the Cartier or the Tiffany, but in some ways it's so personal, because someone has taken the time to place each piece. And if you do it well, which is what I teach you to do, it really is art. It is.
It is. Yeah. I can't thank you enough for bringing it here to Mosaic Arts Online. I am so excited to see this get out to our community.
Thanks, Tami.